Welcome to Black Docs Talk, COVID and the COVID vaccine. I'm Dr. Jermaine Hogstrom.
And I'm Dr. Jermaine Hogstrom.
And if you haven't figured it out by now, we are definitely twins.
Yes, we are.
So you are seeing double, but not really.
Yep.
So, yeah. But we are both second-year internal medicine residents and part of Young Black Physicians here.
Yep. And today we're pretty much going to be answering a few of your questions that may have not been answered during our Black Docs Talk Q&A session that was held on MLK Day.
So if you have not actually had a chance to check out the Q&A session, or you happen to have missed it on MLK Day, we do have it posted to the channel here. So just feel free, as soon as you finish watching this video, to go and check that out.
Right. Please do.
But for today, we do have several questions that we have received, and we want to go over with everybody. So
yes.
Here we go.
Let's do it.
All right. So the first question is, what is mRNA technology?
Yes, that's actually a really good question. So, in general, what mRNA is that it's a special code from a virus, and when introduced to the human body, it teaches your cells to produce a certain protein.
Right. So in the case of COVID here, what kind of happens is that they take the genetic code from the COVID virus and they introduce it to the human cells. Once they introduce it to the human cells then are able to produce a non-deadly, I would say, form of the spike protein on COVID, which is the one thing that you're always hearing about. So being able to produce the spike protein, then your body is able to recognize that protein essentially as foreign and then start to build an immune response. So way ahead of if in case you were to actually get infected with COVID itself, your body will already have that immune response built up for yourself.
Right.
And therefore you would have a good chance of not having severe illness from COVID-19.
Exactly. And so what the overall goal is to help train your immune system to recognize this virus, fight it off quickly, so that we can hopefully avoid severe disease should infection occur.
Exactly.
All right, next question. They ask, if I had COVID, why is it necessary to get the vaccine? What about antibodies? Is there more research?
Okay, so that's a good question. That's a question that I get often in the clinic, because people say, hey, when I get the flu or when I get a cold, I build an immunity to those things. So, why do I need the vaccine once I still get the COVID, the coronavirus? And so our response to that would be, we still highly encourage everyone to get the vaccine, because we don't really know how effective or essentially how long the immunity lasts actually once you've been infected. So we're not really sure of what we call the natural immunity from the virus, and we're not really sure how strong or robust your immune response actually is.
Right. And also we have seen, those cases where people that had the vaccine or had the virus, they recovered from COVID, but then yet they still experienced reinfection, even soon after that. So
exactly.
That's really something that you want to keep in mind.
Yep. And actually there is early data that does suggest that natural immunity to COVID may not actually last long. So there is some data that's kind of building actually to suggest that. So again, because more data is ultimately needed, you don't want to, it's more of a risk or benefits, I would say.
Right.
So therefore, we have data to support that the vaccines are really effective, and that's what we currently still encourage.
All right, next question.
Okay, so our third question here that we have is, after taking the first dose of the shingles vaccine, should one take the second dose before taking the vaccine? If not, how long should one wait after the first dose of the shingles vaccine before the COVID vaccine? Okay. Okay, so that's a question.
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
And this is really particularly interesting because, there is issue with availability and how soon can you get it. So with this, you're going to have to take into account how soon you plan to get the vaccine versus how soon you plan to get this shingles vaccine. The shingles vaccine is a 2-part vaccine. The second dose is usually given roughly 2 to 6 months after the first one.
Right. So current CDC recommendations, they do say that if you are planning on getting other vaccines around the time that you're planning to get the COVID vaccine, that if you have already taken another vaccine, you would want to wait at least 2 weeks or 14 days before you then would take the COVID vaccine. So in your case, if you've taken the first dose of the shingles vaccine, then you do want to go ahead and wait those 2 weeks, again, 14 days, and then you can get the COVID vaccine. And then after that, you could then plan to get your second dose of your shingles vaccine, as scheduled 2 to 6 months after that. So you do have some flexibility there. Ultimately, we still would recommend, you of course, talk to your doctor so that you guys can plan that out, because they ultimately know, your specific medical conditions versus us here.
Right. So always talk to your doctor.
Always talk to your doctor. But again, if you're waiting, if your question is, should I wait to take the COVID until I take the shingles vaccine? Ultimately, if taking the COVID vaccine is what you want, we would suggest that you take that one first for the sake of availability. Shingles vaccine is fairly available in most places. COVID vaccine right now, as we know, there's a high demand, generally speaking, and so it's not going to be highly available at the moment. So if you have a shot to take the COVID vaccine and that's what you want to do, by all means, in that case, do it first.
So it looks like that wraps up all of the questions that we're going to cover for today.
Yes, so thank you guys for watching. Thank you for watching us here on Black Dogs Talk, COVID and COVID vaccine.
Also, please do like, share, comment, and subscribe. Also, please follow us on our Instagram as well as our Facebook page, and those you can find down below.
Also, down below in the description, we do have links to the CDC and the World Health Organization website, just so that you guys can be up to date on the latest COVID vaccine announcements as well.
Yes.
But other than that, stay tuned for more to come from Young Black Physicians.
Thanks for watching.
I will see ya.